Hello, in this video I'm going to review the Pro-Optic 8mm f3.5 lens. This lens goes under a few different names. Rokinon is a common one, Samyang, and there's probably a few others. They're all the exact same lens, they're just basically changed the name on the side of it. Now, it's a fairly inexpensive lens. It's made by a Korean company. You can find it for $250 to $300 new. And the reason it's so inexpensive is because it's completely manual. So it has a manual focus, manual f-stop. And what I mean by manual f-stop is that there's actually an f-stop ring that you have to actually adjust. You can't do it in camera. And then, of course, the manual focus, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. Now, when I got this lens, I was very curious. I've seen some good reviews on it, some decent reviews on it, and was very interested to see what the build of the build quality was. And it's actually fairly nice, rugged, feels very solid lens. The grip is very tight. The lens, the focusing is very smooth. A little stiff, but that's okay. The same with the f-stop ring is very smooth, nice clicks, and actually it's a fairly weighty lens. I mean, it's not like light plastic like what I was expecting. As you can see, it's the pedal style lens hood with the lens cover. Now, this can only really be placed on in any one direction. You can't stick it sideways because it actually grabs the hood there on the top and on the bottom. Just to give you an idea of perspective, here's a couple shots of the lens on a D3000 with some close-ups of the lens itself. The image quality, which is really important, is great. It's actually a very nice lens to work with. Here's a couple of shots. This is some that I took just around the farm. And then just to give you an idea of how much fisheye the lens actually produces. And here's and one great application I found for was shooting a friend of mine's band shots. So I did this. It gets a great perspective, crazy, odd looks to it. Overall, I really like the lens. I'm really happy with it. I haven't got to shoot any Milky Way time lapse, so some of those videos will be coming shortly. The f3.5 isn't ideal for Milky Way time lapse. f2.8 would be much better, but you're only losing a third of a stop, so that's not really too much worse than f2.8. And the only complaint I have with the lens, if I could make it, design it myself, and just add one other element, is that if it could focus just a touch closer. Here's a shot of a cat, the local barn cat, and you can see you can get fairly close, but because it's such a wide-angle lens, it's the f8, you have to get extremely close. So let me just give you a perspective of what this lens looks like. So at this distance right here, you can see the camera. So how far away my hand is from the lens. I'm getting a real nice warm tone on my hand from the setting sun. And so when you're shooting, you oftentimes will find that you're a lot closer to your subject than you initially thought. So in portraits, this is more important because you might be standing there trying to get close and trying to get the right composition and stuff, and all of a sudden you get behind the lens and you notice that you're right in your subject's face, and that can be a little intimidating for a portrait subject. So just make sure you're kind of aware of that. The other thing when you're shooting portraitures, and this is just a pro tip, I guess you could say, is especially if the person's self-conscious about maybe their weight, you don't want to shoot low up towards them, because that's just going to accentuate this area. And so if you're going to shoot, especially a group, and they are self-conscious, you might want to get a step stool or get up a little bit higher and shoot downward, and that'll actually have them taper quite significantly. From the head will be, you know, significantly larger, and then their body will taper down. Probably not a great lens for weddings, you know, as far as like a carrying around lens. You can get some interesting shots with it, but you know, probably not a good application there. And the build quality, I think you'll be happy with. So, you know, I have a Twitter link. I have some links right up here that some other videos. If you're interested, please thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoy it. More videos to come. Thank you very much. Take care.